So the story behind our experimental film is actually quite an interesting one in itself. It actually begins with a 20-page script that myself and Ryan, my co-director, produced. And then within that script, there was parts of it that it was impossible for us to film due to various unforeseen circumstances. So it essentially left us at a crossroads, and we didn't know whether to throw away the script or keep it going. And so in doing so, we researched various literature techniques and whatnot, and film techniques, and we stumbled across a technique called cut up, and it's by William Burroughs. It's a literature technique, in fact. And what he does is he takes his novels, or he took his novels, and then he cuts them up and essentially makes poems from these novels, basically. Like, it cuts up and then he rearranges the texts and whatnot, and he makes shorter poems. And our idea was, could we do this with our script? This was our question. Could we do it with our script? And so we tried it. We took a 20-page script and we just chopped it and chopped all the interesting pieces that we liked and all the dialogue and some parts of action, and we just dumped it in the middle of the desk. And from that point, we just started picking out the parts that we liked and throwing away the parts that we didn't like. And once that was complete, we were left with 20 or so pieces of dialogue that really nailed the film for us, I guess, like the message that you're trying to put across. And so we then moved on to filming the actual film. And in doing this, we just thought, how can we make this relevant to the cut-up technique? And in doing so, we imagined what a film reel could look like after the influence of cut-up. So that's why the film itself is so fractionated and so inconsistent with its scenes. It goes from one scene to another to the other. And that's to sort of emphasise this cut-up technique again. And it's paying more homage, I guess, to Burroughs and his technique. It's the same reason why we chose to do stop motion, just to give it that little bit more of a choppy feel as it goes throughout the film. And then finally, it's again the same reason why we decided to show the words on screen. The words on screen are supposed to symbolise, our script, because that's what they are. They're the words on screen, just are the bits that we chose from the script. And because writing and the idea of writing is so important to this experiment, we wanted the audience and the viewer to actually be able to see the words as opposed to hear them, because I think it's more powerful in that way. And well, that's the idea that we're going for. We're trying to make it more powerful and more meaningful. Plus, it does pay homage to the technique's history, you could say, simply because it was born within literature. So bringing it back to writing as opposed to speaking or some other form of text, putting the message across, I think it worked better, and it's something that me and Ryan were actually really proud of in how it turned out. I think it looks fantastic and it's what we hoped for. To move on to answer whether the experiment actually worked, it's hard to say. I mean, personally, me and Ryan are both very happy with how the film turned out. I think that cut-up technique is definitely something that can be done within film too. And it'll be interesting to see what other techniques could be taken from literature and be applied to film. And I think that's where we're probably going to move forward if it was to be remade or redone. We might examine another literature technique and see what we could do with it. And ultimately, that was what the experiment was. Thanks.